Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, coming up in the next hour. World leaders join Switzerland summit to seek broader consensus for Ukraine's peace proposal. Draft communique condemns Russia's attack on Ukraine. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pledges to stick to his war goals after 8 soldiers killed in southern Gaza. Gun violence reported in the United States again. 10 people, including children, shot and wounded in Michigan. And in T20 Cricket World Cup, India versus Canada match in Florida abandoned due to wet outfield. India enters the Super 8 unbeaten. World leaders gathered at a Swiss alpine resort on Saturday seek broader consensus for Ukraine's peace proposals at the summit. The talks focused on broader concerns triggered by the conflict, such as food and nuclear security. Leaders of over 90 countries participated in the two-day summit. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky trumpeted the summit's attendance as a success and predicted history being made.
Should switch from the language of ultimatums to the language of the world majority, which wants a just peace. The UN Charter is the basis for us. And then, when the action plan is on the table, agreed by all and transparent for the peoples, then it will be communicated to the representatives of Russia. And so that at the second peace summit we can fix the real end of the war. Now we are starting this path together. We must prove that the united world is a world of peace, a world that knows how to act correctly.
World leaders have strongly rejected ceasefire terms laid out by President Vladimir Putin to stop the conflict. US Vice President Kamala Harris says Putin is not calling for negotiations, while German Chancellor Olaf Scholz dismissed it as a dictatorial peace. UK PM also slammed Russia for its conditions for peace.
And let nothing about the end of this war be decided without Ukraine. By contrast, however, yesterday, Putin put forward a proposal. But we must speak truth. He is not calling for negotiations, he is calling for surrender.
It is true, peace in Ukraine cannot be achieved without involving Russia. But let us not forget that, as we speak, Russia continues to relentlessly wage its brutal war. We all know Russia could end this war today or at any given moment once it ceases its onslaught and withdraws troops from Ukraine.
Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida called on international leaders to work together to achieve a lasting peace in Ukraine. As international governments seek broader consensus for Kiev's peace proposals, the summit has been shunned by China and dismissed as a waste of time by Russia, which pushed its own rival ceasefire plans from afar. More than 90 countries took part in the summit, but China's absence in particular dimmed hopes it would show Russia as globally isolated. While recent military reverses have put Kiev on the back foot, Kishida also restated that Japan's concerns over the possibility that the conflict in Europe could spill over into other regions, saying that Ukraine today could be East Asia tomorrow.
2年以上前にロシアが侵略を開始した直後から今日のウクライナは明日の東アジアかもしれない、こうした考え方のもと、厳しい対ロ制裁と強力なウクライナ支援を実施してきました。公正かつ永続的な平和をウクライナで実現することは、国際社会全体を分断、対立ではなく、協調の世界に導いていくために象徴的に 重要なことです。ここに集う我々が率先してリーダーシップを発揮しようではありませんか。
And European Commission Chief Ursula von der Leyen said that freezing the conflict today with foreign troops occupying Ukrainian land is not an answer.
Freezing the conflict today with foreign troops occupying Ukrainian land is not an answer. In fact, it is a recipe for future wars of aggression. Instead, we need to support a comprehensive, just, and sustainable peace for Ukraine.
Meanwhile, a draft of a communique for Ukraine Peace Summit says future peace negotiations should involve representatives of all parties in the conflict and follow agreements on nuclear security, food security, return of prisoners of war and kidnapped children. It urges Ukraine's territorial integrity to be respected. The document also calls for Kiev to regain control of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and access to its seaports. Moving on, updates on Israel-Hamas conflict now. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has reiterated his pledge to defeat Hamas and bring the hostages back. In a video statement issued late on Saturday, Netanyahu says there was no alternative but to stick to the goals of the conflict. His statement comes just hours after 8 Israeli soldiers were killed in southern Gaza.
Despite the heavy staggering cost, we must stick to the goals of the war. The destruction of Hamas military and governmental capabilities, the return of all our hostages, ensuring that Gaza no longer poses a threat to Israel, and the safe return of our residents to their homes, both in the north and in the south.
The Israeli police on Saturday released new footage showing special forces raiding a house in Gaza to rescue Noah Argamani. The video captures audio of explosions and gunfire as police attempts to secure Argamani. Israeli forces rescued 4 hostages held by Hamas terrorists since October in a raid in Gaza on June 8th. Meir Jan, Andrei Kozlov, Shomi Zeev were also rescued. Argamani, 26 years old, was one of the most recognized faces among the hostages abducted by Hamas terrorists on October 7th. Her boyfriend, Aventatan, is still in captivity. And tens and thousands of protesters rallied in Tel Aviv on Saturday after they took to the streets calling for the release of hostages. Protesters gathered at Tel Aviv Square on Saturday evening to demand the government approve a deal to end the conflict and release remaining captives. Despite growing international pressure for a ceasefire, both sides have failed to reach an agreement to halt the fighting. In the US, as many as 10 people, including children, were shot and wounded at a city-run water park near Detroit on Saturday evening. The suspect was still at large. Police says they believe he was cornered in a house nearby. The gun was found at the scene. It was not immediately clear if there were any fatalities, says the police, who had initially reported 5 people shot. As part of a push to peel back the black voters from US President Joe Biden ahead of November election, former President Donald Trump ventured on Saturday where few Republican presidential candidates street the city of Detroit. At a 180 church west side of the city, Trump sat on the stage at a table flanked by a panel of members of the local community, including small business owners and activists. The event was moderated by U.S. Representative Byron Donalds of Florida, a contender to be Trump's vice presidential pick. Trump focused on his core messages, blasting the Biden administration over high inflation, crime and illegal migration, which he said has harmed black Americans in particular. He also vowed to revitalize the local auto industry in Detroit by slapping tariffs on vehicles built in Mexico and elsewhere. U.S. Border Patrol and Texas State Police are joining forces to target human smugglers who transport undocumented migrants across stretch of the U.S. southern border. In a dramatic chase, Texas authorities chased a white truck driven by a suspected smuggler to Rio Grande, where he hopped on a waiting raft and escaped capture back to Mexico. Texas Department of Public Safety Lieutenant Christopher Olivares explained that smugglers employ highly organized system with lookouts, drones, guides and radios, and that the system is controlled by Mexican cartels. Authorities use the resources and officers of both law enforcement organizations to locate, track, and apprehend smugglers and migrants.
Usually on the Mexican side, the criminals and smugglers will fly a drone to see where law enforcement's at. Then once they feel it's clear, they'll bring people across the river. In this case, there was one person that made it across. Border Patrol was able to apprehend her, it was a female, and they were able to prevent any other people from coming across the river. Then we saw this white truck, Border Patrol was behind it, then we got behind it, and then it turned into a chase. The driver was able to jump back into the river, and there was already a raft waiting for him in the river and took him back to Mexico. And this is usually what they use. This individual left his radio behind. So they're constantly communicating with people in Mexico while they're being chased. That way they can try to find a way to evade capture, which in this case, the driver was able to. There was nobody in the truck. And then we looked across the river, there's probably about 10 more people that were looking to cross over the river, but we were able to stop that, which is a good thing.
Desertification and drought, especially in Nigeria's northeast region, is leading to migration of cattle herders to areas where pasture is lush. This has led to conflict between crop farmers and herders over the battle for land, leading to deaths and reduced food production. Climatologists are seeking policies such as ranching for herders as a way out of the situation. DD India's Tessa Makande reports from Jos, Nigeria.
Herder Abdul Bello is out with his cattle on the outskirts of Jos for pasture. He relocated from Bauchi in the country's northeast due to encroaching desertification and drought.
This is our source of livelihood, raising cows and selling them. Here in Plateau State, it rains well, so there is good pasture for cattle. In other parts of the country, especially in the far north, cows just die due to lack of water for them to drink and hunger.
Bello is among thousands of herders who are now grazing in Nigeria's north-central states like Plateau and Benue. Having migrated from the northeast Sahel region, it has triggered eco-related conflicts between them and crop farmers in host communities.
The plants don't get to mature to their full capacity before the rain stops. So one of the key problems that we have faced here is, of course, the issue of the drought, basically caused by climate change and, of course, land degradation, leading to shortage of rainfall.
According to the country's House of Representatives, over 60,000 lives have been lost due to clashes between farmers and herders since 2001. This has jeopardized food production, leading to soaring food prices and hunger. Climate experts say solutions exist.
We can actually encourage herders to see how they can get the best of their herds by keeping them in one place and then, of course, feeding them better and then getting the resources out of their herds, such as milk and meat that they can use into creating various other products.
The government has warned that herders face arrest if they let their cattle stray into farms. The president has also called on state governors, who are statutorily the custodians of land, to make it available for herders to graze on in a way that won't lead to conflict between farmers. Some governors have instituted a ban on open grazing, calling on private investments in ranches for cattle herding. But other states are yet to do so, leaving herders like Abdul Bello to search for pasture for their cows. Tassim Akende in Jos, reporting for DD India.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. Peter Pellegrini sworn in as Slovakia president. Democratic Republic of Congo received nearly 700,000 doses of new malaria vaccine developed by Serum Institute of India. And Muslims across the world celebrate Eid al-Adha with prayers and greetings. The festival will be celebrated in India on Monday.
Voice of a rising aspirational world. Stories of challenges, struggles and accomplishment. A world battling conflict, hunger and poverty. Embracing growth, development, science and technology. A voice of progress, a voice of unity. Watch Voice of the Global South with me, Akshay Dongre, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. In Slovakia, Peter Pellegrini was sworn in as the country's president on Saturday in the capital, Bratislava. Pellegrini, a member of Prime Minister Robert Fico's nationalist left coalition, won the country's presidential elections in April. Prime Minister Fico, who took power for the fourth time last October, has turned the country's foreign policy towards more pro-Russian views and initiated reforms of criminal law and the media, raising concerns about weakening the rule of law. Fico is recovering at home after being shot 4 times at a close range when he greeted supporters at a government meeting in the central Slovak town of Handlover on May 15th. In a surprise announcement on Saturday, former French President François Hollande said he would stand for Parliament in the upcoming legislative elections. Hollande said he would stand as an MP for the Southwestern Corrèze department for the New Popular Front, a left-wing grouping formed for elections that include socialist, hard-left, Greens and communists. Hollande is not the first president to run for legislative elections after leaving the Élysée Palace. In 1984, 3 years after his defeat against François Mitterrand, the presidential elections, Valéry Giscard d'Estaing was elected MP for the Puy-de-Dôme department. The elections, with the first round on June 30th and the second on July 7th, were called by Macron after far-right National Rally trounced his own centrist ruling party in this month's European elections, recording more than double its vote. Meanwhile, in Paris, police scuffled with protesters carrying anti-fascist movement flag in Paris on Saturday. Protesters carrying the red and black Antifa flag clashed with armoured riot police as thousands marched in Paris and cities across France to protest against the far-right National Rally RN ahead of the upcoming elections to the French Parliament. In Paris, where police said 75,000 people turned out, a march set off from Place de la République in the east, going through the Bastille Square to the nation. The police said there had been 217,000 demonstrators across France. Sweden and Iran carried out a prisoner exchange on Saturday, with Sweden freeing a former Iranian official convicted for his role in a mass execution in the 1980s, while Iran released 2 Swedes being held there. The prisoner swap was mediated by Oman. Sweden freed former Iranian official Hamid Nouri, who had been convicted for his part in a mass execution of political prisoners in Iran in 1988. Meanwhile, Swedish citizens Johan Flodus and Saeed Azizi, who had been detained in Iran, were freed and flown back to Sweden, where they arrived late on Saturday. A week-long hunger strike in Venezuela ended after inmates in 20 jails and detention facilities reached a deal with the government, a non-government organization. Inmates were protesting against jail conditions and delays in judicial reviews. President Nicolas Maduro earlier replaced the country's head of penitentiary affairs, Celsa Bautista, and appointed legislator Julio Zerpa in the middle of the strike. NGOs have criticized prisons in Venezuela for overcrowding, poor health conditions, and food scarcity, in addition to procedural delays, among other issues. The Democratic Republic of Congo has received nearly 700,000 doses of new malaria vaccine to help control and eradicate the tropical disease. The vaccine was developed by Serum Institute of India, will be administered to children between the ages 6 to 23 months, starting later this year. DD India correspondent Chris Ochamringa has more from Kinshasa.
A consignment of vaccines against the leading killer disease in the Democratic Republic of Congo arrives in Kinshasa. The R21 Matrix M vaccine was developed by India's Serum Institute to help prevent malaria deaths in children. Studies have shown it to be 75% effective. Many senior Congolese officials were excited to receive them.
We are here to receive a vaccine against malaria for the first time. As you know, malaria is one of the biggest causes of mortality, especially among our children and grandchildren. They are the ones paying the heavy price.
Malaria is spread by a bite of an infected mosquito. The DRC is reported to have the second highest number of malaria deaths globally. The country recorded over 24,000 deaths last year. Most of them were among children under the age of 5. The vaccine was approved by the World Health Organization in October last year.
I think this vaccine will be a real game changer in terms of preventing malaria. As you know, DRC is one of the 11 what you call high burden malaria countries around the world. Given the size of a country in terms of land size and population, DRC is really when we think this vaccine can make a difference.
Congolese authorities plan to roll out the vaccine later this year, but they'll have to convince many parents who are skeptical about vaccines due to misinformation spread during the COVID-19 pandemic.
This is a tried and true product. We know the effects of malaria. We know what that will do to the people here and especially to children. So when there is a reliable product that can reduce the mortality and the impact of this disease, I would say, you know, the malaria is a far greater, they should be far more afraid of malaria than the vaccine.
Figures from health organizations show that sub-Saharan Africa has suffered the most from malaria, accounting for 90% of cases and deaths annually.
Health officials in the DRC are optimistic about reducing and eventually eradicating malaria in their country with the arrival of the vaccines from India. But that will depend on the uptake of the vaccines by the population, which has in the past been hesitant to get their children vaccinated against killer diseases. Chris Sochamringa in Kinshasa, reporting for DD India.
France, Germany and Britain on Saturday condemned Iran's latest steps to further expand its nuclear program. According to International Atomic Energy Agency, Iran has taken further steps towards sabotaging the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action signed with Iran in 2015. The IAEA said Iran started operating dozens of additional advanced centrifuges and the Natanz enrichment site and has announced that it will install thousands more centrifuges at both its Fordow and Natanz sites. A high-level U.S. delegation, including former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, is set to travel to India next week and meet Tibetan spiritual leader Dalai Lama in Dharamshala. The Republican chair of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Michael McCaul, is leading the bipartisan congressional delegation to India. In a press release of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Chairman McCaul stated that India is the world's largest democracy and an important strategic partner of the United States, and he looks forward to meeting with government officials and American business community to learn how to continue and strengthen relationship with India. News just coming in. Israeli military has said on Sunday it would hold daily tactical pauses in military activity in parts of southern Gaza to allow more aid to flow into the enclave, where international aid organizations have warned of a growing humanitarian crisis. Military activity would be paused from 500 GMT until 1600 GMT daily until further notice along the road that leads from Kerem Shalom crossing to the Salah al-Din road and then northwards. Muslims across the world, including Gulf countries, Egypt and Morocco, began Eid al-Adha celebrations with prayers and greetings on Sunday. The festival will be celebrated in India on Monday. Eid al-Adha is observed on the 10th day of Dhul al-Hijjah, the 12th and last month of the Islamic lunar calendar. Following the conclusion of the yearly Hajj pilgrimage, celebrations are contingent upon valid lunar sighting. While Eid is not directly related to Hajj pilgrimage, it is significant chronologically since it falls just a day after the pilgrimage concludes. Eid al-Adha is celebrated in remembrance of devotion and faithfulness of Prophet Ibrahim to Allah. Eid al-Adha is celebrated to honor Prophet Ibrahim's willingness to offer his son Ismail as a sacrifice and his steadfast loyalty to God. In Saudi Arabia, Muslim pilgrims hurled pebbles at the giant walls in symbolic stoning of the devil early on Sunday morning. Pilgrims arrived in Mina, where they spent the night in Muzdalifa plain, where they had gathered pebbles to throw at stone columns symbolizing the devil. The ritual stoning, known as Jamarat, marks the first day of Eid al-Adha, which is celebrated by Muslims across the globe. The pilgrims are participating in Hajj, considered the world's biggest religious gathering and a once-in-a-lifetime duty of every able-bodied Muslim who can afford it. Let's now turn to other stories making news around the world. High-speed sleeper trains linking Beijing and Shanghai with Hong Kong began operating on Saturday. The new train service runs between Hong Kong's West Kowloon Station and Beijing's West Railway Station from Friday to Monday. Travel time between Beijing and Hong Kong will be reduced to about 12 hours from 24. Thousands of women protested on Saturday against a bill advancing in Brazil's Conservative Congress that would equate abortions after 22 weeks of pregnancy to homicide and establish sentences of 6 to 20 years in prison. Abortion is allowed in Brazil only in cases of rape, fetal deformation, or a mother's life is in danger in such cases. If the bill becomes a law, abortions by rape victims would be considered homicide after 22 weeks gestation. Residents of a Chilean coastal spa resort live in fear of their homes collapsing after a sinkhole opened up at the foot of an apartment building after heavy rains battered the South American country. Residents of the apartment building complex were evacuated after a sinkhole measuring 15 meters wide and 30 meters deep opened up on June 8th. The causes of the sinkhole are under investigation. An Asian elephant in central Thailand has given birth to a rare set of twins in what caretakers have described as a miracle. Twins occur in only 1% of elephant births. Male-female are even more rare. Experts call this a miracle. The rare occurrence provides a unique opportunity for researchers to study the dynamics of twin elephant calves and their development. And still to come on DT India News Hour. Union Home Minister Amit Shah to review security situation in Jammu and Kashmir in the wake of recent terror attacks. Indian Railways enters its name into Limca Book of Records. Most people at public service event at multiple venues. And Nilgiri Mountain Railway in southern India recognized as UNESCO World Heritage.
गर फिरदौस बर रुए ज़मी अस्त हमी अस्तो हमी अस्तो हमी अस्त Jammu and Kashmir, nature's finest works. A land of verdant valleys, pristine lakes, striking autumns, unforgettable majestic beauty. A place of unwavering devotion, wholehearted smiles, and warm hospitality. World famous for its exquisite artistry. Leader in diverse agricultural products. Heartland of winter sports. Jammu and Kashmir is vibrant, diverse, ambitious, future-focused, full of life. Welcome to Heaven on Earth.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Our top stories. World leaders join Switzerland summit to seek broader consensus for Ukraine's peace proposal. Draft communique condemns Russia's attack on Ukraine. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu pledges to stick to his war goals after 8 soldiers killed in southern Gaza. Gun violence reported in the US again. 10 people, including children, shot and wounded in Michigan. In T20 Cricket World Cup, India vs Canada match in Florida abandoned due to wet outfield. India enters the Super 8 unbeaten. In the wake of terrorist attacks in Jammu and Kashmir, India's Home Minister Amit Shah will hold a high-level meeting on Sunday to assess the current scenario in the Union Territory and evaluate measures to curb terror activities. During the meeting, Home Minister will assess the readiness of security grid for the upcoming annual Amarnath Yatra scheduled to commence on June 29th. Last Sunday, 9 pilgrims were killed and 33 injured when a bus was attacked in Riyasi. Since Tuesday, a CRPF Jawan and 2 militants have been killed, 7 security personnel injured in 3 separate encounters in Doda and Kathua districts. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed delight over Smriti One Earthquake Memorial Museum in Bhuj, Gujarat, making it to world selection for the UNESCO BRICS Vasai Museum 2024. In a social media post, Prime Minister says that Smriti One in Kutch is a tribute to lives lost in the tragic earthquake of 2001. It is a reminder of human resilience and courage as well. It was inaugurated by Prime Minister Modi on August 28, 2022. The facility spans 11,500 square meters and is divided into 7 thematic blocks: rebirth, rediscover, restore, rebuild, rethink, relive and renew, each representing a different aspect of the museum's mission. And now all the updates on the 18th edition of Mumbai International Film Festival. The 18th Mumbai International Film Festival began on June 15th. Renowned wildlife filmmaker Subiya Nalamuthu was conferred with the coveted V. Shantaram Lifetime Achievement Award for this year. Simultaneously, the screening of movies is acting as a feast for audiences in the NFDC Tagore Film Centre, Chennai. The opening film, an Indian premiere of Billy and Molly, an auto love story directed by Charlie Hamilton, James grabbed the eyeballs on the first day. Special screening of the documentary threw light on the fact that gradually the audiences in general is getting accustomed with the message-oriented films. The event represents the fact that the fusion of different movies being given a common platform is a golden opportunity for audience to blend well from across states. And DD India correspondent Shama Mishra joins us live from Mumbai for more. Shama, good morning. What can film buffs look forward to at the Mumbai International Film Festival today?
Good morning, Shubhendu. And we have already mentioned that there are around 314 films in 18th edition of Mumbai International Film Festival. So the day starts from today, and all the screenings would be held across various theatres. And we also have to note this, that this time around there are 5 locations. We are not talking about just Mumbai and Mumbai location. We are talking about 5 different cities where simultaneous the screenings would take place. So this is Mumbai we're talking about, and Delhi, Pune, Chennai and Kolkata. So 4 and along including excluding Mumbai. So there are 5 places where the screenings would take place. We also understand that this time around there'll be master classes, and today we are understanding that since this is all about documentaries and short films, animation, how to monetize it, there'll be a master class on that. So crowdfunding, sourcing, how do you create the funds for your documentary, and how do you benefit from that, how do you monetarily benefit from that. There will be a masterclass on that. There will be also a masterclass by Richie Mehta, filmmaker of Delhi Crime and Poacher fame. He'll be coming here and talking about how thriller and all these kind of genre is made. Apart from that, we are also understanding there'll be YouTube, the journey of YouTube and GoPro. How do you make films from that, and how do you actually form a documentary or a short film from that. There'll be another masterclass on animation. Side by side, we are also understanding that this time around, for the first time, a doc film bazaar is going to be inaugurated, and this will be done in a few minutes from now. So we are understanding Apurva Bakshi of Delhi Crime fame. She would be here along with Joint Secretary of INB, Information and Broadcasting, Vrinda Desai and Fritzl Kumar. They'll be here and they'll be inaugurating this Doc Bazaar. We also have to understand this, that there are variations in this Doc Bazaar. So there is viewing room where already the made documentaries would be showcased. Then there'll be a doc work in progress lab where rough cut movies, the documentaries, they would be presented here. And these doc work in progress lab, they'll be having special expertise, knowledge, and then they can also have guidance from the experts who are already established in this field. So a lot of things going on in the 18th edition of Mumbai International Film Festival, and it will be still 21st, it will be all colorful creativity and all fun over here.
Right. Also, Sharma, if you could give us a sense of, given that it's an international festival, how is it acting as a melting pot for Indian and world cinema?
Shubhendu, we understand, we have just recently seen that at the 77th Cannes Film Festival, we have won our short film in the last NF category. Sunflowers were the first ones to know. They were here, they were at the Cannes Film Festival, and they received this first prize. So they have come here again. Yesterday at the opening ceremony, inaugural ceremony, they had their screening, and they are also competing in this particular documentary category. So we will have to see once again they do it, or some other film takes away the top prize. So that is there, that is melting point. And as I've mentioned that there are 314 films, we are talking about 61 languages. So 61 languages, and we understand there are 59 countries which have come over here with their documentaries, short films. So this is definitely and clearly a melting pot for all the filmmakers, for all the documentary, short films, animation filmmakers. And because of that, we are understanding that how to give a boost, how to make this platform a launching pad for the documentary filmmakers, because FTII and other film schools are also here, and other countries are also participating. And since this is one of the very few platforms which are dedicated totally to the documentaries, short films and animations, no feature films are put up over here. So we can understand, as we always see that documentaries are films that only get places, not in the mainstream, but somewhere around, some other places where we can't find it interesting. So now, how to monetize it, how to make it interesting, because documentaries are such films which brings out the actual life, which brings out the actual story of the society, and society can learn a lot from it.
Absolutely,
so
hugely important.
Yesterday you mentioned about the Billy and Molly.
Yes.
So how nature, how wildlife can come together and create a co-space. All this is
hugely important for documentary filmmakers,
film
Sharma. Certainly. Thank you very much for those updates. Enjoy the festival. Moving on, in a tragic update, at least 14 people have been killed after a tempo traveller carrying 26 passengers fell into a deep gorge in Uttarakhand's Rudraprayag district. Prime Minister of India has condoled the loss of innocent travellers and initiated to provide financial assistance of rupees 2 lakhs from PM National Relief Fund to the kin of each of the deceased. The injured would be given rupees 50,000. The Chief Minister of Uttarakhand, Pushkar Singh Dhami, met people who were injured in the vehicle accident, admitted at AIIMS Rishikesh, and expressed his deep sorrow. More than 1,200 tourists are stranded in Sikkim's Mangan district due to disruption in road and communication network after landslides hit the district on the nights of June 12th and 13th. Minister Shering Tendup Bhutia is overseeing the evacuation, utilizing airlifts and roadways depending on weather conditions. In response to the recent natural calamities in Sikkim, Chief Minister Prem Singh Thamang has announced an ex gratia of ₹5 lakh each to the families of the deceased. The government will also take steps to rebuild the destroyed homes. The India Met Department on Saturday issued both orange and red alerts for several states, mostly from northeastern regions. IMD has issued an orange alert in Delhi for the next 3 days. There is no relief expected from the searing heat in Delhi as the maximum temperature settled 6 notches above the season's average at 44.6 degrees Celsius. As per the weather report, heat wave conditions are expected to continue in the northwestern states of Himachal Pradesh and Jammu division till 17 June. Indian Met Department predicted light to moderate showers in Assam, Meghalaya, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Tripura, West Bengal and Sikkim until 21st of June. Arunachal Pradesh is expected to receive significant rainfall over the next couple of days, and IMD has issued an orange alert. Heavy rains are also expected to hit the sub-Himalayan parts of West Bengal and Sikkim. The southwest monsoon entered Gujarat 4 days earlier than usual, but hasn't made further progress in the last 4 days due to unfavorable conditions. The Indian Railways has achieved a remarkable feat by entering the Limca Book of Records, the milestone achieved for organizing an event with the highest attendance at multiple locations simultaneously. Ministry of Railways organized an event on 26 February 2024, which was attended by some 40,19,516 people across 2,140 venues. The event was organized for the inauguration of road under rail bridges and for laying the foundation stones of railway stations by Prime Minister Modi. The mammoth effort in mobilization of Indian Railways has been recognized, and the same has entered into the prestigious Limca Book of World Records. Today we remember one of the greatest of all times, Deshbandhu Chittaranjan Das, on his 99th death anniversary. A patriot, social reformer, journalist, poet and philanthropist, Das worked towards building a free and progressive India. DD India's Shreya Mukherjee gets us more.
His kindness and leadership skills earned Chittaranjan Das the title Deshbandhu. A barrister, patriot, political leader, orator, journalist, poet and philanthropist, Das left an indelible mark in shaping the destiny of a free and progressive India. Born on 5th November 1870 in Kolkata to Bhuvan Mohan Das and Nistarini Devi, Das was inspired by his parents' humanitarian work. After graduating from Presidency College, Kolkata in 1890, he went to England to join Indian civil service. When he did not qualify, Das joined the Middle Temple and was called to the bar in 1893. Later, he started practicing at the Calcutta High Court. In 1905, Das strongly opposed the partition of Bengal. He was close to Mahatma Gandhi and supported both the non-cooperation movement and Satyagraha. Leaving his lucrative career in law behind, he joined the national politics in 1917. He formed the Swaraj Party in 1923. Das became the mayor of Kolkata in 1924 and appointed Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose as Chief Executive Officer of Calcutta Corporation. Das's contribution towards women's health and childcare is immense. Chittaranjan Bhavan in Delhi, established in 1974, has been taking Das's legacy forward by helping the marginalized section of the society.
We run a charitable dispensary where about 20,000 patients come almost every month, and we have about 22 doctors on our panel. We give free medical advice and services and medicines to people from the weaker sections. Besides that, we have a library which has about 60,000 titles in various languages. We also have EWS classes for people from the weaker sections so that they can come up to a certain standard in education.
On June 16, 1925, Deshbandhu breathed his last. His funeral procession in Kolkata was led by Gandhi. On his 99th death anniversary, let's pay our earnest homage to the man who will always be revered for his benevolence and patriotism.
Let's now take a look at other stories making news. Indo-Tibetan border police mountaineers conduct a rescue operation in Lahaul Spiti border after an American paraglider went missing for 4 days. Authorities say there are concerns he might have met with an accident. Efforts to locate the mountaineers are ongoing. The Nilgiri Mountain Railway, recognized as UNESCO World Heritage Site for its breathtaking scenic routes, recently celebrated its 125th anniversary. This historic railway, which runs through the landscape of the Nilgiri Hills in Tamil Nadu, has been a symbol of engineering marvel and natural beauty since its inception in 1899. Shimla comes alive with music, dance and cultural extravaganza as much anticipated International Shimla Summer Festival returns to the rich ground. Celebrated for over 64 years, the iconic festival has become a beacon of joy and artistic expression, drawing participants from spectators from afar and wide. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is back with his monthly program Mann Ki Baat on Sunday, June 30th. Here is an opportunity to share innovative ideas and suggestions directly with the Prime Minister. Some of the suggestions would be referred by the Prime Minister during his address. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. In T20 World Cup, Australia beats Scotland by 5 wickets in a thrilling match. England enters Super 8. Defending champion Italy opens Euro 2024 campaign with a narrow 2-1 win against Albania. Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh, and it's time now for the updates from the world of sports. India's last Group A match, that was against Canada in Florida, was called off on Saturday without a ball being bowled due to wet outfield. India, who've already advanced to the Super 8, go into the next round staying unbeaten. The other team from Group A to enter the Super 8 is United States. Meanwhile, Pakistan, Canada and Ireland are the teams that got eliminated from the group. Super 8 phase of the tournament will be held in West Indies. India will take on Afghanistan on 20th of June. Let's now speak to our correspondent. Tapash is joining us. Is a right decision for the ICC to host the matches in the US at this point, given the wet grounds and rains?
Right, a lot of questions have been asked to the ICC about the fixture, especially at this particular point. We saw 3 matches back-to-back getting abandoned in Florida. Now, a lot of questions have been asked about the itinerary of the T20 World Cup, especially in USA, in New York, as well as in Florida. One has to also understand that it's not a great idea to keep the outfield open. The pitch was covered, but the outfield was not covered fully. So that 20 minutes of rainfall activity and actually destroyed hopes of many countries, and not a single ball could be bowled, and the match was abandoned between India and Canada. And a lot of fans came here and they were disappointed. 3 matches getting abandoned without any result is not a great sign if you want to bring cricket to USA and make it a popular sport. So ICC needs to have a major rethink exactly why they did what they did and probably rectify it in the next tournament.
And top knocks Marcus Stoinis and Travis Head guided Australia to a 5-wicket win over Scotland in their T20 World Cup 2024 Group B match on Sunday. Chasing 181, Australia lost 2 early wickets, but Head and Stoinis' fiery partnership brought the 2021 champions back into the game. Stoinis scored 59 of 29 balls, while Head scored 68 of 49 balls. For Scotland, Mark Watt and Safan Sharif scalped 2 wickets each. With this loss, Scotland gets knocked out from the tournament. Earlier, reigning champions England secured a 41-run win over Namibia in the rain-hit Group B game, Antigua on Saturday. England now enter the Super 8 due to a better net run rate. In football, defending champion Italy opened its Euro 2024 campaign with a narrow 2-1 win against Albania at the BVB Stadion, Dortmund on Sunday. Nedim Bajrami of Albania scored the fastest goal in the history of European Championship, finding the net after just 23 seconds. The goal smashed the previous record held by Russia's Dmitry Krachenko, who scored after 67 seconds against Greece way back in 2004. However, Italy held their nerve and equalized in the 11th minute when Bastoni headed home after a short corner was swung in to the far post by Lorenzo Pellegrini. In other Euro match, thousands of Croatian fans left the Olympic Stadium in Berlin a little disenchanted on Saturday evening. This is after Spain outclassed their side 3-0, striking 3 times in the sublime first half to earn maximum points in the Euro 2024 Group B opener and confirm their status as title contenders. Spain will next play Italy, while Croatia will take on Albania. And now let's turn to the updates on International Yoga Day, which will be celebrated on 21st June. A few days from now, the world will mark the 10th International Day of Yoga, celebrating a timeless practice that brings together oneness and harmony. India's Prime Minister Modi shared a video on his X handle that offers guidance on Padtarasanas and their benefits.
In Sanskrit, Pada means foot and Hasta means hands. That's why Padahastasana means the Yogasana, where you touch your feet with your hands. This asana is also known as Uttanasana. To do this asana, first, stand straight with your feet at a distance of 2 inches from one another. Now, taking a long, deep breath in, raise both your hands straight in front of you and take them up over your head. Stretch your body up as much as you can from your waist. While breathing out slowly in this posture, bend your body forward till the point where both your palms can touch the floor. When bending down, take care that your arms and head both go down at the same time. Remember, if you have a problem of stiffness in your back, then bend only up to the point where you don't experience any strain or difficulty. Breathing in and out normally, stay in this posture for about 10 to 30 seconds. Padahastasana makes your backbone flexible. This asana gives relief from problems which arise during the female menstrual cycle. Refrain from doing this asana if you are suffering from any heart disease, back or backbone-related problems, vertigo, or swelling in the stomach. Patients suffering from hernia, high myopia, ulcer, and pregnant women should also refrain from doing this asana. Staying in this posture for 10 to 30 seconds, take a deep breath in, come up slowly to a standing position. Take care that your arms and head come up at the same time. While doing this, both your hands should be stretched up above your head. While exhaling slowly, bring both your hands down and relax. Practicing this asana regularly improves your digestive process and also gives relief from constipation. The Hastasana.
As the 10th International Day of Yoga approaches, High Commission of India in Sri Lanka continues to mark the occasion. The 10-day-long Yoga Mahotsav is being observed across the island with a focused topic on each day. Events were held on Sunday morning with specific theme of yoga for spirituality at various places in the island nation. Ahead of International Yoga Day, High Commission of India in the United Kingdom organized yoga event at Trafalgar Square, which witnessed significant participation of more than 700 enthusiastic people. The main focus remains on continuing yoga's role in healing and personal growth rather than aiming for differences in participation. Since 2015, International Day of Yoga is celebrated across the world annually on June 21st, following its adoption by the UN in 2014. That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour. Let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan this QR code on your screens to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.